What you need to know about low-carb diets and cholesterol is probably not what you've been told for most of your life. Let me start with a question that might sound a little shocking. Could it be that cutting carbs, something so many health gurus praise as a ticket to weight loss, might actually be raising your cholesterol in ways you never expected? And here's the twist: sometimes that rise isn't even a bad thing. Confused yet? Good. Because what we're about to explore might change the way you think about food, health, and aging forever. If you're over 50, like most of us here, you've probably lived through decades of nutrition advice, flipping back and forth like a seesaw. First, fat was the enemy, then sugar took the blame, then carbs, then saturated fats again, and now we're told protein is king. The truth is, many of us are left wondering, what's real, what's hype, and how do we protect our hearts, our brains, and our lives without feeling like we're playing roulette with every meal? That's why today, I want to walk with you through this maze of low-carb diets and cholesterol, not as some distant expert pointing fingers, but as a companion on this journey who has also asked the same late-night questions while staring at the ceiling. Am I really eating the right way for my age, for my future? Let's begin with a little story. A friend of mine, John, turned 60 last year. He'd battled with his weight most of his life, and finally he decided to go all in on a popular low-carb plan. He cut the bread, the rice, the pasta, even the fruit. Within 3 months, he was down 25 pounds. He felt lighter, more energetic. His blood sugar looked fantastic. But then came the blood test. His LDL cholesterol had shot up, and his doctor looked him in the eye and said, "John, we might need to put you on medication." That one sentence shattered John's confidence. How could something that made him feel so alive on the outside be potentially dangerous on the inside? This is the kind of dilemma many people over 50 face. The tug-of-war between what feels right and what science warns us about. And that's where the conversation about low-carb diets and cholesterol gets really interesting. First, let's get one thing clear. Cholesterol itself is not a villain. Our bodies actually need cholesterol. It builds cell membranes, makes hormones, and even helps with brain function. Without it, life isn't possible. But the types and the balance of cholesterol matter. You've probably heard of LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, and HDL, the good cholesterol. On low-carb diets, something fascinating happens. In many people, HDL actually goes up, which is great because higher HDL often means lower risk of heart disease. Triglycerides, another fat in the blood that is linked with heart risk, often go down. That sounds like a win, doesn't it? But here's the catch. LDL cholesterol can rise too. This is where the confusion and fear come in. Now, let's pause here and breathe. If your LDL rises on a low-carb diet, does that mean you're doomed? Not necessarily. This is where science is evolving. This is where being over 50 gives us a kind of advantage we've seen enough. Diet fads to know not everything is black and white. LDL cholesterol comes in different particle sizes. The small, dense LDL particles are considered more dangerous because they're more likely to lodge in arteries and cause blockages. But on low-carb diets, many people see their LDL shift to larger, fluffier particles, which are thought to be less harmful. In other words, the number might look scarier, but the quality of those particles may actually be safer. It's like comparing a handful of sharp pebbles to a bunch of beach balls. Same weight, very different impact. And here's where personal reflection comes in. I've had moments in my own health journey where I had to stop chasing numbers and start looking at the whole picture. Because health isn't just one lab result. It's how you feel, how your energy flows, how well you sleep, how sharp your mind is. For those of us over 50, this whole body perspective is even more important. We're not just trying to look good in the mirror. We're trying to extend the quality of our years, to play with grandchildren, to travel, to wake up without pain, to feel alive. And that brings me back to you. Have you ever tried a low-carb diet? Did it make you feel better, worse, or somewhere in between? I'd love to hear your experiences. Leave a comment below, because your story might inspire someone else who's sitting on the fence. Now, let's talk about the hidden side of low-carb diets that nobody tells you. Yes, they can help you lose weight, stabilize blood sugar, and improve some cholesterol markers. But if done carelessly, they can also lead you into a trap. If you swap bread and rice for bacon and cheese at every meal, you might see results on the scale, but your arteries could be silently protesting. The source of fat matters. Saturated fats in moderation can be part of a balanced diet. But drowning your body in processed meats, butter, and heavy cream while ignoring vegetables and fiber is like patching a hole in your roof with duct tape. It might hold for a while, but it won't stand the storm. This is where I want to offer a gentle shift in perspective. Low carb doesn't have to mean no carb, and it doesn't have to mean unhealthy fats. Think of it instead as low processed carb, high quality fat, moderate protein, and lots of colorful vegetables. Avocados, nuts, olive oil, fatty fish. Leafy greens, these foods don't just help your cholesterol balance, they nourish your whole system. They're the kind of foods that make your heart strong, your mind clear, and your body resilient. I sometimes like to call this low carb with wisdom. It's not about restriction. It's about choosing foods that work for you, not against you. And let's not forget, lifestyle matters just as much as diet. Exercise, sleep, stress management. These are not side notes. They are central to how your cholesterol behaves. A brisk walk every day, some light strength training, even dancing in the living room with your favorite old songs. These movements can shift cholesterol in your favor. Meditation, prayer, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea can lower stress hormones that, if left unchecked, wreak havoc on your heart. And sleep, let's be honest, many of us don't get enough of it. But it's like free medicine for your cholesterol and your whole body. If you're listening to all this and feeling overwhelmed, let me reassure you, you don't need to do everything perfectly. Start small. Add one vegetable to your plate. Swap soda for water. Take a 15-minute walk after dinner. These small choices compound over time, like interest in a bank account. And by the time you look back a year later, you'll realize you've built a whole new foundation for your health. If this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because I share these kinds of practical, uplifting insights every week. Now, here comes the twist I promised at the beginning. What if the rise in cholesterol you fear on a low-carb diet isn't a signal of damage, but rather a signal that your body is shifting gears, adapting to burning fat for fuel? Some researchers believe this might be the case, and while the science is not settled, it shows us that context matters. Instead of panicking over one number, we need to look at trends, patterns, and the whole picture of our health. That's the real secret about low-carb diets and cholesterol. They're not inherently good or bad. It depends on how you approach them, how you sustain them, and how you listen to your body along the way. So the next time someone tells you low carb will save your life, or low carb will ruin your heart, you can smile and say, actually, it's more complicated than that, and more hopeful too, because the power isn't just in the diet. It's in the wisdom of choosing what works for your unique body, your unique season of life, and your unique goals. And if you've stayed with me to this point, I want you to know this. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of confusing diet wars. You have the strength, the experience, and the wisdom to craft a way of eating that honors your health and your life story. That's what you really need to know about low-carb diets and cholesterol. And maybe, just maybe, the journey of figuring it out will be one of the most empowering parts of growing older. So tell me, are you ready to look at your plate, your choices, and your health with new eyes? Share your thoughts below, because this isn't just my story, it's our story. And remember, every step you take, every choice you make, is another chance to live with energy, clarity, and joy. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of your health, and don't be afraid to question the old rules, because sometimes the answers that surprise us most are the ones that set us free.